Hello and welcome to the fourth of our four sessions of Hearts of Wulin. This is being played using some of the new courtly optional mechanics, essentially to provide additional tools for playing in a more courtly setting. It's still very much Hearts of Wulin, but we've got some additional things on the table. We've seen some of that taken advantage of, and we've seen some heartbreak. So I'm going to kind of try and summarize last time in just a second, but let me say this before I go into that particular wormhole, that this is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. You can find out more about this online gaming community at gauntlet-rpg.com. So last time there were confusions, and I think that let me start with let me work with each character first. So Min went to visit with who she thought was Wei, but it was in fact Wei's double. And in the course of that conversation, that double indicated an affection for Hang that seemed unusual, and Min didn't know what to make of that. At the sort of same time, we came to a scene with Hang and Tu, where Tu was coming to talk about this issue with Ni. This is something that had come from Min's discussion, the servant Ni. Hang revealed that the Wei, in fact the double, had extraordinary calligraphy skills, and that wanted to teach and train and so on. And in the course of that, Tu misunderstood the sample declarations that were on the table as coming from Hang, rather than in fact coming from Wei's double. So that's how that now that seems super easy, like a real through line on that one. The group information was passed eventually about the nature of these assassins and so on, and Wei and Min and to a certain extent Tu went to try and track down this servant of the foreign embassy, Ni, and even just a little bit before that, we saw Wei, real Wei, making a move to get a better sense and an idea of what this Master Zinnia, who is from the Northern Embassy, who seems like a sinister person, who is certainly hiding his Wulin skills, and is certainly tied up with Ni and all of that. And in fact, when everything sort of came to a head, the group saw Ni speaking with Zinnia, clearly telling him that her sister had been found dead and so on. And Master Zinnia was like, well, let's go talk somewhere privately where you can explain this to me and we'll get to the bottom of the situation. The group was having none of that. And they worked very hard through a whole series of misunderstandings and miscoincidences, and well, it wasn't him, it was actually her, there to have Wei confront Zinnia out in the garden and essentially force him to kind of engage with Prince Wei. There was some discussion about Prince Wei going and riding with the ambassador the next day. That situation was sort of broken up by the arrival of Hang, who was engaged with that. Hang pressed on Wei to get Wei to agree to have some additional calligraphy lessons, but Wei avoided that, put it in the hands of his guard, who, distracted, Min in guard uniform, agreed to extensive studies the next day in calligraphy. Then Tu arrived on the scene. Ni had been put somewhere safe. Zinnia had left by this point, and that's when the assassins leapt out and attacked. And they were handily dispatched by our heroes here in a blazing sequence. So I think we take up, if I may, with you recovering. But before we even get to that, let's check in on entanglements and any kind of advances, things like that. So Richard, looks like your entanglements are good. Are you happy with those?
Yeah. I mean, I like, other than I might reword the second one a little bit. I don't
Okay.
think there's any I don't really see any reason to change anything.
Okay, and we certainly I think we can have the sense that let me ask you this about Hang and this vision of a prince with these calligraphy skills.
Mm-hmm.
What is about this that's making Hang exciting? Is it the possibility of another master? Is it the possibility of being identified as the person who taught the prince such excellent calligraphy? Is it worry that this person could, be better than you? What is the motive there?
Well, it's it actually fundamentally ties into Heng's like martial school and philosophy. So the principle that I kind of had in the back of my head is that there's this the order that Heng is a part of has this core tenet that there is a perfect ideogram that someone will be able to make,
Mm-hmm.
and it will, it'll bring all this power and ability to right the wrongs of the world and all this other stuff. And Hang has had kind of a barely admitted to himself thought that he might be the person to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he encounters this natural talent, and it's a combination of like, a sublimated disappointment that, in fact, he's more of a a John the Baptist than a Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And but also excitement at the possibility of the ideogram being found.
Interesting. I like that. Now, did you get an advance last time?
Yes, I did. And I took a move from the another playbook,
Mm-hmm.
Laughing in the Wind. Although I if you can take a look at it, I might be leaning too hard into something I'm kind of already doing.
Yeah, we do already have that with the Ryan the crowd.
Right, the beating the dragon robe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was kind of thinking about that just in the last half hour or so,
Yeah,
right?
if you want to take
So
something
I
different. Yeah.
might switch. I'll look into it, and if I'll just send you a message to take a look if
Sure.
I switch that
Absolutely.
up.
I've
All right.
got no problem with that.
Yeah.
Min, we come to you. We saw Min as Zen and Min as Min last time. And the complexities of that, though we did have a good moment with Wei expressing himself. And despite the kind of the pressures against it, we still know that the Aunt Regent sort of knows of this a little bit and is suspicious. So that's something that's out there. And you've got a couple things marked. So we've definitely got your romantic is set. What about, I think both of your generals have kind of referred to people who are kind of outside now, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I was actually looking through the list of entanglements, and I want to see if I can find one for Heng. I haven't found one yet. but I'll keep looking and bring that up whenever I can.
Right. And certainly, I mean, what we know is that you're uncertain about what the relationship is between Hang and Wei, even though Wei has reassured you. I mean, that would make sense. It's like you're curious about that.
Right. Almost as if so. Almost as if Hang is my potential rival. Something along the lines of Hang is my potential rival, and I must discover the truth about it.
Okay.
Something
That
like
sounds
that.
good. We're getting a little weird static on your line. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if that's a loose plug or something. Now we can't hear you at all. Still can't. Now you've muted yourself. Okay.
oh.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic. Okay.
Good. Clean that up.
Yeah, I had a weird problem this morning with my microphone, so this headphone set might be going out. So, let me know if you hear some static or something like that again.
Okay. Yeah, it's certainly better now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also took an advance, and it might be too much of a duplicate, like we were talking about with Richard. I took the imposter, where you can assume a perfect disguise. If you're impersonating someone that might be challenged on a hit, your disguise fools them, blah, blah, blah. The reason I took that specifically was because it was like, oh, I'd love to see the scene where I take, is it Zemin, the bad guy's place? Or
Zinnia?
Zinnia, or Knee's place, or even Wei. I would love to see 3 ways in a fight, right?
A 3-way fight, you're saying?
Yeah. However, if that's too much duplication between my 2 people and Wei's 2 people,
I think it fits, but and also it is like a perfect disguise. Like you're able to make yourself, look exactly like someone else, and that's a dramatically striking art that I think that's fine if you want to play with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. And then we come to Wei, and let's see.
Hi there.
How are your entanglements looking here for you?
Well, I just added one.
Okay.
Because I didn't have one listed for Hang. I require no points for it. I have no points in any other entanglements. Why should this be different? But the one I found that worked is Hang has chosen me as their heir, but Wen, who I've known all my life, resents it. Because Wen is the one who is actually the master calligrapher, who has the true soul of the brush. And I do not want an additional 4 hours of calligraphy practice. And I'm really not interested in the poetry that Wen has been seized up with in her love of 2. So I have Hang listed as my unwanted master. Other points of interest on my sheet is I got a whole lot of check marks, so I'm pretty stressed out. I did pick up a move called Sacrifice. When you mark the wounded condition, all your allies gain +1 forward. I also noticed something. So in the player agenda, everyone always has one unique one. Mm-hmm. And as I've been playing Wei, I've been attempting to live my truth in his unique one, which is Revel in Naivete. And I noticed that my fellow players didn't have theirs on their sheets. So I put them there, not to say that you haven't been playing them anyway.
Oh, no, it is.
But for Min's, it was Conceal Your Truth. And for Hang's, it is Show How Wisdom Provides Solutions. And I feel like you've been doing that anyway, but I thought I'd put it on there for you. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Let's take up. The guards would have come. They would have shuffled you away. You would have brought your compatriots with you in the chaos of this. Certainly, your guardsmen and Hang, and we're in your private chambers. There's hustle and bustle around and about. How do we see you, Wei? We're some people kind of spaced apart from each other, catching their breath. What is it that you are doing to center yourself when you're in these kinds of complicated situations? We know calligraphy is not your art.
No, because while Wei is can be patient, he's more about the growth and curiosity parts of wood, which is his style element, and fire is kind of his other thing: creativity, speed, and passion. So reflection, really not his thing. Thinking about what's going on, not so much. So he's probably keeping busy, and given his personality, the way he's doing that is by making sure everyone else is okay, checking in on them, making sure the guards are all right, making sure that the building is now secure.
Absolutely. So we see you doing that. You busying yourself in that state. So you can clear one of your elements. So you kind of work through that.
And I just realized I get an influence because I'm the air.
Yes, you are. Min, are you working to clear your elements? Are you working to help Wei? Are you doing something else? What do we see of you in this scene?
So I think that I'm working to help Wei as Zen, his bodyguard, and I'm traveling along with him. And I think as we go from place to place to try to help the, make sure everyone's okay, that the guards are locked down, that everyone's safe, that the guests, from the foreign land are well protected and all of that. I think, I tell Wei, I talk him up, basically. It's so, it is such a courtly attribute of yours to care about others more than you care about yourself.
What do you think that is as you comfort and support here?
Are you looking for a reaction from me here?
I'm actually wondering what Min is going to be rolling for, and then I want to hear your kind of reaction.
Okay. So are you asking which stat?
Yeah, which element are you rolling with?
I think I'm rolling with let's say wood.
Okay.
Which is more curiosity and patience and that kind of stuff. Okay. So I rolled an 8 plus 1 is a 9.
Okay. So then in that case, if you're kind of listening and you want to take in Min's words, Wei, you can clear another element. What is your reaction when your guardsman, Zhen, says this to you?
I think Wei says, to be honest, I feel I've learned more about being noble from the people that don't live within these walls at all.
If you don't mind, I'm going to burn a bond with Wei to change that 9 into a 10.
Okay.
I will also remove a unmarked condition.
Okay.
And I get to ask Wei a question. Is this in character, out of character, or either?
Either one.
Okay. I think in character, I'm going to ask, when do you think you will take your rightful place as the head of the court?
Interesting.
It throws him off step for a moment, and he's like, I feel like I'm in my rightful place right now. To step forward. I suppose I'll know when I know. But it's not yet.
And Hang, what do you make of all this as you're kind of moved around in the wake of the prince's company here? Would you remain with them, or would you try to break off on your own here?
I am trying to. Well, I mean, I like, I am pretty fixated on the prince for the time being, but actually, Heng does need to break off, and he's actually going to try to get a private conversation with Master Yahui.
Interesting. Do you send a message asking for that audience?
No, it's too secret. I need to just kind of figure out where he's going to be and arrange to buttonhole him.
Yeah, he's pretty much hold up in his quarters in the court now. If you want to go over there, you could certainly make your way over there unseen if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Let's have you make an overcome roll. I want to see if anybody sees you on the way there.
All right, and let's see. I'm gonna say, yeah, this is gonna be an earth roll, I think. Six plus 1, 7.
So I think that you will be able to make your way over there generally unseen. Though you do see, as you are heading in, you see Lady Shun heading out, and she will sort of startled to see you, kind of pauses there, and then nods, and clearly can tell by your bearing that you are here to see her husband. And she will head off and let you in quietly.
Okay.
And Master Hui is there. There's scrolls scattered around, his own work, the work of old masters. There's the wine jug and the bowl, and he see him. He picks up the brush, and he is thinking, and he puts it back down.
All right. How does he react when he sees me?
Now, if I recall correctly, Hang.
Oh, I humiliated him.
Yes. And he's like, have you come here to bask in your victory, Master Hang?
None of that matters anymore. And I stride over to his table and like sweep all the scrolls and stuff off the table, and I just lay out a scroll that has a sample of this this calligraphy. And let's see, I think this constitutes like what I want to do. Looks like I'm trying to change the game state a little bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sort of hearts and minds, I think, here.
Yeah. Well, I'm I'm not trying to convince. Well, what I'm trying to establish is that like this isn't like, since he is, I learned from him. He is also of this school, and that he too would instantly recognize what I see in this. It's not just me like projecting.
Yeah, I think this is a way for you to gain some influence and kind of convince him that this is a legitimate thing.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to convince him, I guess,
you can just convince him to give you influence in the sense of supporting you in this. So let's start with that. Let's what do you want to roll that with?
Let me take a look. That I think that is fire.
Okay. Yeah, creativity, speed, passion.
Yeah, because I think it's about like the intensity of the experience and that being infectious to him. And yeah. Okay, so I'll go ahead and roll that. And that's 9 plus 10.
10. So he looks at this and he says, "You are good. I've never naysayed that, but this is not your hand."
Indeed, it isn't.
Where?
This is the hand of the prince.
The prince?
I was as surprised as you.
The prince's calligraphy is like that of a drunken ape.
I don't know what to tell you. I have had my own frustrations, but suddenly just there was you can see it goes beyond raw talent.
I thought when I handed him to you as a student that I was getting rid of a burden that I had to my hours. But you've clearly brought out something in his work that I could never.
I wish that I could point to something that I've done that made this happen, but I can only imagine that a talent like this was put there by the gods.
Enlightenment is a thing. You must think back on the lessons that you taught and see which one it was that awoke the prince to this world of beauty. This is not a fluke. There's more.
This is I have a room full. I have a table full of these. And I've even tried to emulate what I see here, and all to no avail. I think this is what we've waited for centuries.
Yes, it is striking. It is amazing, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. You must stoke the fire of this talent, though.
I agree. What makes this all the worse is that he expresses no interest in honing this craft.
If he becomes the prince, he will never pick up a brush like this again.
I agree.
Why have you come to share this with me? Me who you destroyed.
My actions toward you, I'm sure that you likely saw into my heart more clearly than I myself did, and knew that until this, I had suspected myself to be on the path to this perfection. And so I ask that you accept my humble apology. And I can only ask for your support in helping me to be midwife to this talent.
This is larger than me. It's larger than you. Yes. Yes. All right. All right. I must. You should go. I must clear myself up.
Very well.
And he calls out for Shun, and is perhaps a little surprised when she doesn't come, but starts putting himself back together. So we're going to cut to the prince's chambers. You've finally kind of been herded by the guards back to your own rooms. Your younger brother Huo shows up and he tries to get the full story from you about what goes on before he is taken away, for his own safety. But eventually, one of the captains of the guards will come in, and he has with him two lieutenants of the watch, and he comes in and brings them in, and he kind of pushes them down to their knees in front of you. And he says, "Prince Wei, I have discovered how these miscreants made their way in. The inattention of these, they did not notice when some of their comrades had been struck down by these assassins. And they will be duly punished for their misdeeds."
This is like a captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Captain, they've lost their comrades. They've been shamed. There is no greater punishment they could take. It doesn't mean that perhaps they couldn't be placed in a position where they learn to do better, where they learn to be more attentive. But learning and punishment are not the same thing. I think we can all do better.
And you see this actually kind of throws him off, and he's like, but the regent gave
the regent is dealing with a lot of issues right now. She may choose what is expedient, but you and me, we can choose what is right.
And he's caught between, he's caught on right now. So, I think this might be Hearts and Minds.
Kind of sounds like Hearts and Minds. I tell you what, I wish I didn't feel like I had to roll with wood, but I feel like I got to roll with wood. Patience, growth, and curiosity, It is my style. All right. Yep, that's what I thought.
What's your total?
Well, I rolled 2 ones, and that means my total's a 4. So there we go. That's life in the big city.
And he says, "I have the writ from the regent here for their execution. We head to the yard from here. I cannot disobey." And he will raise them up, and he is clearly going to take them out to the yard.
Ugh. Well,
let me ask what Zen's reaction is, because you're present in this scene here. You see Wei attempt to try and get some mercy for these men, and is shut down by this captain. who is clearly more terrified of the regent than he is of Wei. What do you think, Min?
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure how to do it, but I think that from before I was trying to encourage Wei to take more control of the day-to-day actions in the court. Oh, yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to Wei and I'm going to say, you can't let this happen. You must you must convince the regent that these men should be spared.
So I think Wei is going to nod.
And you don't have to mark wood. You only mark it if I tell you to mark that as your thing. Because I think having signed the death warrant of these people is more than a good enough hard move on my part.
Well, that's lovely. I think what we're looking at is me having to talk to Aunt Yu and go for a game of court move.
Yeah.
Which I was going to try and save up that influence, but this is the world we live in. So Wei needs to get to Aunt Yu as fast as he can.
Okay.
Normally, the way he accomplishes that is when he needs to go fast is by running across rooftops and doing his wire foo stuff. However, he also knows he can't show up to Aunt Yu actually doing that. So at some point, he has to slide back down, straighten his stuff, and go in to see Aunt Yu.
Okay.
Zen is also going to go to see Aunt Yu, but can't follow you on the rooftops. So at some point later, Zen will come in breathless, from coming through the hallway.
So we cut to the court. There are various courtiers around. The regent is seated upon the throne. There are people talking with her. The doors come open, and there is Wei, and the regent looks up, and she's, my nephew Wei. Come. Let me see. Make sure that you are all right.
Wei will smile as he comes forward. He'll be, beloved aunt, I am well.
For a second time, our fools of a guards let people in, and now we know that they were after you. It is, I shudder to think what would have happened if they had not been stopped by and kind of gestures to now breathless Zen entering into it by your guard.
All of my guards represent the strength of our people. They're as the fingers of a fist that close in around me and help shelter my own strength. That is why I came to speak to you. I have learned that two of our guards, while they did fall short, I fear in your love for me, it has become anger at them, and I wish to plead for their lives. I believe they can be better. I believe they can do better. I know I have the foolishness of youth, but surely they deserve another chance.
Now, I have a question for you. There are two ways you can frame this.
Mm-hmm.
One is a very public declaration and kind of bringing the game of court in, spending influence, or you could move to a social duel here.
All right. I have barely read those rules.
Basically, it's just like a standard duel, except it is in the social thing with the social potential consequences here.
Sure. I believe she is above my scale, though.
No.
Nope.
Not to you.
Ooh.
To everyone else, yes.
Oh, dear. All right.
Now,
let me
mind
have a
you,
look.
what you can actually get out of an exchange is a little bit limited, but you could press on her if you want to do that. That makes it a little more you and her having this battle rather than drawing in the larger scale of things. What would you like to do? How would you like to frame that?
I think we're going to have to do it as a social duel.
Okay.
Because he's not being real subtle about this. He's coming in and talking it straight.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, even though he doesn't really want to assume control yet, it is him asserting some authority.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
What stat do you want to roll with?
Well, it's not going to be wood. No, wait, I still have wood.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. What makes sense here? Blah. I think we're going to go with fire. Creativity, speed, and passion. He has the fiery passion of youth.
Absolutely. And let's have you roll.
Now, the thing is, I can spend influence on this.
Yes.
And my influence is worth double.
It is.
So I'm going to do that.
Okay. Now, max on a roll is a +3.
Max for me is a +4. It is in the rules.
Right. That's right. You are the prince.
Bring
it. Let's see you bring it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to save it and use it against Zinnia. But,
there are ways to get more influence. So you might look at.
Right. So that's a 14.
See her.
Yeah.
Pause and do the calculation. If this is so important to you, it pleases my heart to see you taking an interest in these things and in the interests of the common people. I will withdraw my order, and I will leave their punishment in your hands.
He will bow and go. You are as merciful as you are wise. And I am grateful that I have you to look up to for what a leader can be.
And she nods. She knows she was outmaneuvered here, and she will bow to you, and you can head out. Min, that was impressive.
I've never seen Wei speak with such eloquence and show the leadership it would take to control this court. It's amazing. Yeah.
So, So I'm reading the dual rules here. So normally, like a lot of the 10 and up give you an influence back, which would be nice. But for this one, it says, narrate your brilliant approach or stratagem. You may undercut their position, destroy their support, bring their plans to a halt, direct the wrath of higher powers against them, or force a physical duel. To be honest, I want none of that. But
would you like your influence back?
I think I might take the influence, because the only thing I would push for would be to have peace instead of the war that Zinnia wants.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think that seems like a good way to read that. Yeah.
All right. Just take the influence for now.
Min, you return back to the chambers. Wei will. The captain is there. He receives the orders from you. He will hand the punishment of these lieutenants over to Wei. What are you doing next, Min?
I turned away and I say, your control in court was befitting of the ruler that you will be one day. And I think, if I may so humbly suggest, that these guardsmen should work in the village, protecting it and doing labor until such a time as they can work off their debt to you. And I eye the two guards.
They thought they were going to die, so they put their heads down, they bow, they grovel. By all rights, they should be dead now.
As it was your words that inspired me, I'd intended for you to oversee their improvement, actually. So this goes well. Yes, you can place them in the city and be responsible. And by the time you're done with them, I am sure they will be simply the best guards that we have ever known in our lands.
It is an honor you bestow upon me. And I think I will take the two of them and walk them out. I think I'm going to take them back to my family and have them, my family in the village, and, have them assigned jobs, do labor for some period of time like the common people do to learn who you're protecting.
Absolutely. And essentially, they are given reduced salary, and the difference in the salary will be paid to your family for their upkeep. So it will do well by your family. And of course, the neighbors will see that people from the Imperial Guard are there's a lesson here. There'd be a certain amount of prestige and knowledge that your family has some people in higher places, I think.
I see.
Let's come back to Hang. What is your next step here? Do we want to cut forward to the next day with your teaching? Do you want to talk to Shun? Do you want to track down the minister? What do you want to do?
Well, I think that Hang is in a huge amount of inner turmoil, because he is essentially contemplating the unthinkable, because all he sees, and he, maybe this is like a VO of him speaking as he looks pensively out the window, but from the information he has, the only solution is to make it impossible for Wei to become prince or to become ruler. And he's going to have to work, he and Yahui are going to have to work behind the scenes to topple him from his position. Interesting.
So what's your next step? I mean, you know that the prince does have some enemies.
Yeah, let's see.
Certainly he seemed to have a tense conversation with that Xenia person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm gonna try to send a secret message to Xenia that we need to talk, and we can fast forward to the meeting if you feel like.
Oh yeah, let's do that
smoothly. Or
yeah.
Okay.
We will see that the sort of the next day. There's a moment when in the garden, and it looks like you are casually walking there, and Xenia is casually walking there as his fan out, and he says, "Master Hang, what a wonderful coincidence that I should run into you out here."
It is no coincidence. It was by design.
Well, let us walk and talk. What is it that you wish to to speak of today. You're such a
I
cultured, creative
I
person.
I know that we have previously been at cross purposes, but it seems as though
Have we? I don't think we
yes.
have.
Well, I think my opposition to conflict has been well known.
But I'm a man of peace as well.
Well, then perhaps we are more in alignment than I had thought.
I'm sure we are.
I find myself in the position of being a dedicated servant of the state who nevertheless sees an urgent need to upset the balance of power within that state.
Your words intrigue me. Whatever could you be speaking of?
Wei must not ascend to the throne.
May I ask, what has brought that decision upon you?
I choose not to share my motivations. Except to assure you that they do not conflict with your own.
You think you know my motivations?
I know my motivations.
What you speak of is a very dangerous thing.
It is indeed, and it forces me to go against my every instinct, but a higher principle is at stake.
I want you to roll hearts and minds to see if he believes you.
All right. All right. I am going to call this. I'm going to say that I put a lot of time into like pre-scripting this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and use metal this time.
Okay.
And that is the 5 + 2, 7.
7. I'm interested. Certainly, my conversation with the prince the other night indicated to me that he and I did not see eye to eye on many things. Whereas the regent and I have had fine conversations. And I think that her rule in this land is more amenable than what the prince might bring.
I have to say that I am willing to work to the same end, provided that the prince is unharmed and free to pursue other paths in the aftermath of this. I have no interest in being an assassin nor facilitating one.
You merely want a scandal.
Yes, I merely want Wei to have reason to seek other options. render him permanently unsuitable.
I have just the thing for that.
Do you want to cut the scene there, or?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Wei, let's have a conversation between you and your double.
Makes sense.
And she is there, after Min, if the guards left and so on, and she knows the secret ways in, and she will say, "There was a very close run thing at the court today."
What did you do with the calligraphy?
What do you mean?
Look, Master Hang proved himself to be a person of culture and breeding that I hadn't thought of. You should have seen the tea ceremony. It was amazing. But somehow I am down for 4 hours of calligraphy. Did you not imitate my hand?
Forgive me, I was carried away. We were speaking of things, and my thoughts were elsewhere, and I lost track, and it flowed through me.
When it is no shame for you to be as excellent as we know you are. It is the world we live in, where
another life I could have been.
In this life you still are. It normally goes unrecognized. I don't wish to take credit for your skill. But we've gained a lot by this arrangement. Where do you wish to go from here?
Are you saying I must debase my art?
No, I'm not saying you must debase you. I would never have that. I'm asking what you want. Your family has been as my own for many years. I've learned amazing things from you and your father. Unfortunately, apparently not calligraphy.
We owe you everything. We owe our lives and our duties to you, and we are yours to command.
Everyone keeps saying that. And yet, I know everyone has their own dreams. I would help those dreams become reality, but how can I do that when all I get from everyone is your wishes are command? For the time being, I think perhaps it means that you're taking over for my calligraphy courses as much as possible.
But if you think that is the way.
Tell me. We are friends. I trust your counsel. I trust you to be me. Who could I trust more than you?
And you can see that there's like there's something else that's going on here that you can't quite get a read on here. Mm-hmm. Do you want to try and study to kind of pull out the situation, or?
I will do that thing. I'm gonna roll with water. I suck at it, but it makes sense. Yep, there we go. Got a 5. Whatever you say happens, man.
Let's see here. So I think she will say, I understand. what must be done. By your leave. And she will bow to you. And you can tell she's made some kind of decision that she's not willing to speak to you of.
Perhaps I could get. I think 2 is her friend as well. I don't know.
Min, what are you up to?
So, I think while I'm in town, while I'm in the village,
Yes.
I am going to go train with, what was his name? Zihao.
Okay.
That is the hermit master that lives in town, in the village. And I would like to talk to him about what I saw, I believe it was last session, with what's his name? Zinnia balancing the cups and the masterful way that he was doing so. And of course, I don't tell him who it was, but I tell him this is what I witnessed, and it seemed to be a new style. I wanted to ask if he had ever heard of this, Zihao.
It's not a new style. It is an old style, lost. If it is exactly as you described it.
Well, I think the one who showed this talent was feigning humility because he allowed one of the cups to drop at the last minute, but I believe it was intentional.
That balance that you speak of, I mean, some schools practice that, but to do as you say, to keep them in the air such as that and not a drop spilled. There was a school called the 100 Ghosts. But they were purged in a factional fighting perhaps 15, 20 years ago under the orders of the prince's father.
So if I have seen such a person, revenge may be in the future.
They were a cold and calculating sect. If they desire revenge, they will have it, and it will be quiet and perhaps even unseen. They were like unto ghosts themselves.
You know, I have heard whisper of rumor that in the palace, in the court, there have been 2 attempts on the heir's life. Please speak of this to no one.
Oh no, believe me.
But I am greatly concerned this 1,000 ghosts may be behind it.
100, not 1,000.
Oh, 100.
Let's not exaggerate.
100 ghosts.
There are others you may want to speak with from the librarians of the palace may have better records than most that may have some information. One of the judges you might speak to on the grounds in your role as a guard, and see what you can find out that way.
As always, your counsel is most wise. I thank you.
Excellent. And we'll bow. Let's take 5 here, and we'll come back and we'll figure out how we're going to kind of frame some scenes together here.
Ta-da!
Hey, Jason.
Hey.
So one of the things I was kind of angling towards was the new technique.
Yep.
So if you're, do you think you're going to try and do something like that?
Given the opportunity, but I'm also fine if you want to have Min learn it, because so the way that the air is written, he's always going to be better in social combat than more or less everyone. And I like doing the combat stuff too, but I'm more than happy enough for Min to be the one who comes out the badass on that.
Well, actually, I was just going to say, I think that we could angle it towards men passing off that knowledge, if you're interested.
Sure.
Go on.
It's kind of too bad that it's not the same thing as the two people fighting as one technique that we ran into last time.
Ooh. But that might be what's needed to lower someone's scale down.
Could be.
Now I want to come back because now I'm going to do that hard move from that fail.
No. All right.
So, Master Wei, this is while Min is in town. One of the servants come in and says, "Prince Wei, Lady Shun requests to speak with you on an urgent matter."
I'm slightly lost. Lady Shun is which?
She is the husband of Yahui, of the calligrapher person who got discombobulated.
You mean wife?
Wife of Yuhui.
Yes.
Yes. Got it. Okay, good. So Wei is confused and says, "Very well, show her in."
And she will come in and she will say, I'm sorry to bother you, Prince Wei. But
I hope you are well.
well as can be. As you know, my husband, your former teacher, has had a conflict and I fear that the regent and others may be looking to eliminate him from the palace to remove his position.
He had quite unkind things to say about my calligraphy skills. Something about that I draw like a baboon, a hand like a baboon, something. To be honest, I was not paying attention to him.
No, I know you did not perhaps take the lessons as seriously.
There is a chance. I was younger then.
Which is why I'm so surprised by the change in your skill.
It's it came as a surprise to us all.
It Perhaps, is almost as if it was a different person.
Almost. But how would that be possible?
That would be a question, wouldn't it, Prince Wei?
It would. Are you here to speak of your husband?
I am here to ask that you use your influence at court to make sure that my husband is not removed.
Interesting. Where would you like to see your husband placed?
The position he has now, or if needs be, Master Hang placed above him, but he kept on here in the palace. Either of these things seem reasonable and would be a very generous thing for you to do for your former teacher.
Well, Lady Shun, I'm not opposed to helping you out. To be honest, my former teacher has not earned my my favor. However, I've seen how he speaks to you many times. And In all honesty, I would be okay if you stayed and he left. We could find you a position. I'm going to roll Blade Hard.
Let's have you do that.
Come to my side. Yeah, I'm gonna go with fire for that, I think.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna roll well. I got a
bonds?
5.
Got a 5?
Yeah, wait a minute. I rolled a 3, so plus 2 is 5. They fool me with a seeming change of heart.
She says, yes. You're very generous in what you say in this. And I see the logic of it. And yes, my husband has not always been the most dutiful and compassionate of men. So what you say is a very generous thing. And she will bow to you. I thank you. And I think the camera will kind of pan around and we will notice that we've seen some things on the desk around in the background, some personal objects of yours that have vanished in this as she has pocketed them as evidence to help her master Zinnia in his plots.
Fair enough. I just said something as a private, but I'll say it out loud to my fellow players, and I meant to send it to everyone. I said, goddamn calligraphers will be the fall of the empire.
Yes. With one ideogram, change the hearts, minds.
Okay.
So let's see how we want to bring people together here. Jason, do you have a sense of where you'd like to go scene-wise? Who you'd like to bring to converse with? NPC or PC?
So
kind of force that scene on you.
I have a couple of thoughts on that.
Sure.
One is that Stephen had talked about sharing information about the secret technique thing, which I think is something that we need to have happen. I feel weird about it always being Wei and Min and Hang off scheming on the side. But the situation being what it is, I'm not really sure that there's much to be done about that. I will say that if I was ever in a position where I was going to have to be in the calligraphy lesson, I would straight up roll shadow at that point, because there's no way I'm sitting through 4 hours of calligraphy.
Well, let's do that actually, because you were put in that position yesterday, and there were a couple of rolls that pinned you down on that.
Yep.
So
we can do both things. I am with Min, while certainly Wei is with Hang.
Okay. Well, let's have you at the calligraphy lesson. And is it and the question is, and I'm going to let you actually decide this. Is it you, or is it Wen who is there?
No, that's 100% Wen.
Okay. And think here. What's I think.
Well, I got to roll shadow.
Yeah, let's see how well she does.
Yeah.
How well she assumes this role for you.
Let's use fire. I think your roll for the party room is broken, and that it hates me.
Holy moly! Is that the same thing you just rolled? Did you roll the same number?
No,
again?
I rolled a 3 last time.
Okay.
This time I rolled double ones. All right, so on a double ones, So on a miss, you appear, but your double acts on their own secret agenda or suffers devastating harm. So whatever you say happens while I'm not there.
I think that there is a meeting, and Hang, the prince is not doing nearly as well as they did before.
Okay, well, I'm going to be trying to trying to jar Wen into I'm kind of turning the screws.
Let's have you hearts and minds putting that pressure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get an authentic thing here, and let's take a look at what I want to roll, what makes the most sense. This is going to be Earth again. This is about presence, I think. That is a 6.
So the prince throws the brush away and like actually spills the ink. It's like, I don't know why we're doing this. Calligraphy is the worst. This is the worst thing. I should be out riding. I'm done.
I am I'm going to stop the prince. And I think
how do you stop the prince?
Well, I
do
think
you lay hands on the prince?
Yes. So the way I'm going to do this is that this is going to be how my new ability comes in.
Okay.
Okay. So if I'm going to lift my brush and say, I think you need to be taught the value of control of the brush.
Interesting. Now, this is almost kind of a PvP situation.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to slide back over to Jason on this. There are a couple ways that we can do this. We can say that him doing this is the hard move rollout from the shadow, or if you want, we can read this as a PvP challenge. If you want to situate it that way.
Let's roll it PvP. I mean, Wen's father is a martial arts master, and she knows how to do it.
So here's how that works then, Richard.
Okay.
When you're the challenger in a PvP thing, you make an offer to the other player saying, this is what I'll give you if you let me win. And you can offer to give them experience. You can offer to change entanglements. You can offer to give them influence. You can offer to mark stats. You can offer changes, narrative control, whatever you want to offer. You make one offer to them, and then they decide if they wish to accept that. If they do, then you win. If they don't, then they get to decide whether it's a draw or whether they win.
Okay. So what I am asking for then is to get authentic effort. And I'm going to offer an XP and an influence.
So you want authentic effort from Wen, and in exchange I get an XP and an influence?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it kind of humiliates her with the brush.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He gets the authentic effort from her kind of as a result of that.
Hmm. Man, I feel like I need a real life inner turmoil roll because I want those things, but I feel like I'm betraying when if I
Well,
take.
here's
them.
the other thing. You also get a free XP on top of that too.
Do I get an XP every time I fail a roll?
No, only when you make inner conflict rolls.
Yeah, all right, that's what I thought. Okay.
Otherwise, you'd be a god by now.
Thank you for that, Lowell. I
I know
appreciate that.
I'm genuinely like
It's
heartbroken.
in any given game, I only roll real low and real high, and I tend to roll real high when I do the most
Mundane.
mundane thing is what I fail.
Okay.
I fail anything that's not perilous. So right. I think I'm going to take that. I'll take your sweet XP and influence.
Yeah. So you get 1 XP from him, plus 1 XP for accepting the defeat, plus the influence.
All right.
Richard, what does that look like?
I think as Wen goes to exit, I'm kind of like using the brush as like there's a presence to it that is larger than its size would indicate. It feels as though I'm blocking you with a pole axe or something, and that's kind of how you're reacting as I'm like barring your way, and as you are like trying to get around me, I'm just kind of with very subtle calculated movements, kind of edging you back toward the table, and periodically I make I make a small brush stroke on your cheek, and these add up over time to an ideogram.
And I think because I mean she has these skills and she knows Wei's style, but she also this would be actually fighting with someone at court. She doesn't know how far to go with this. That she's a little restrained, and that is, even though her skills are on scale with yours, it's what brings her down, and she's red cheeked, and will pick up the brush and attend to the lesson. And we will see her get through those hours of lessons, and then, puts the brush down and rises. And Prince Wei will bow. Been very quiet the whole time, and will leave. I have the sense that you've properly chastened the prince in this. And we will see Prince Wei going outside, and we will see her run into Lady Shun. We'll cut from there. Min, what are you up to? You're muted.
So Min is actually going to head to the library.
Okay.
And I think before going there, she goes to see Wei, who she's going to go to his quarters. And see if he's there. And
are you there, Wei?
Can be if that's what the fiction calls for.
What would you like to have that interaction?
Yeah, I'd rather interact. Is this Min coming?
This is Min.
All right.
I have heard that there is an ancient a sect that has revenge in their heart against your father. And this is what might be happening. I have also been told of things we can study in the library, which may help us understand more about them. I think it is best to protect you if you know more about who is coming for you.
Wei nods and goes, very well. Facing that library will be a daunting task. But Min, I haven't seen you since last night when the assassins attacked. You disappeared right after. My bodyguards had no idea where you went. Are you all right?
I am fine. I went to visit my family and to make sure that they were also safe. And I could not. I felt confident that you would be safe here. And I must admit that the attack upon you last night frightened me greatly.
Well, my bodyguard Zhang has brought some guards into the village, and amongst other things, perhaps that will keep people there safer. If you do see them, give them my best. You must know Zhang.
I have met Zhang before in your presence, but I do not know him personally.
Oh, very well. That I shall have to introduce you sometime.
I would enjoy that.
Well, to the library then.
And so I explained the things that Master Zihao had mentioned about the 100 ghosts and their methods. And I believe he mentioned the library might have some information, or the judge. And I think that, I'd like to discuss this. And so Min has seen Wei fight, and Wei has seen Min fight. And I think that we can have a mutual, Min has a respect for Wei's methods, and knows that he will be able to learn enough from this to help hold his own, because Master Zinnia frightens her.
So let's do a study roll from you, Min, and Wei can assist if necessary. And we'll kind of put this together, and then I'll frame the questions and the answers here. What do you want to roll that with?
Study from Min, I think would be metal. Oh no, I have metal marked. Let's actually say wood for curiosity. I rolled an 8 plus 1 is a 9.
Now you could burn a bond, or Wei could attempt to assist.
I'm happy to try and assist.
Let's see if you can assist.
Cool beans. All right. Let's actually use wood for this. Patience, growth, and curiosity. It seems like the right thing. And I got rid of those other trader dice, so I'm going to make new ones.
Jamila, she's very superstitious about her dice in a wonderful way that she will clear any bad dice immediately.
Yep. So I rolled a 7 plus 2 is 9.
Is 9. So yeah, you can bump that up to a 10. And so you have 2 hold to ask questions or to make declarations. And let's frame this that after consulting at the library, eventually you'll be sent to Judge Lee, an older and venerable judge, retired now, but a friend of your father's way, who comes and you speak to him and he says, 100 ghosts were a very, very serious threat. They brought discord and disharmony in the martial world. There were many that allied to them. I probably still have friends if they were around today, but they were all but destroyed by your father, who saw them for the wickedness that they were. So what questions do you want to ask or declarations do you want to make?
I had temporarily forgotten the name of our bad guy.
Yeah.
Zinnia.
Zinnia. All right. Well, Stephen made the roll, so I think Min gets to ask the questions or declarations.
Do you have any suggestions since you're there?
Well, I think we need a weakness in the technique that my father used to break them.
So I think if I can reword that a little bit, how was this group of powerful masters broken?
The school had it in its way a focus on balance and control of the things within its grasp. What your father realized is that they had perfect control over that, and objects, weapons, things around them they made very dangerous. And they could control that space. What they could not control was the full of the environment. And your father laid traps and set up situations where the rooms were unbalanced, where things were precarious, and forced them into situations where the opponents could continuously keep them from centering themselves because the world itself worked against them. Father was a very, very clever man. Many did not believe that this would work, but he proved it. And your second question?
Let's see. I think I'd like to make a declaration of a detail. I'm trying to figure out exactly what.
Sure.
So actually, one of the things I was thinking of is that this is more about the technique. The technique is more about control of objects, and they don't necessarily, the technique has a weakness in that they can't predict what people will do, that the hearts and minds of people themselves are kind of a weakness.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm willing to have you ally that onto the previous weakness question. If you want to double up, I'm good with that, rather than that taking up a second question.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because it covers the same sort of topic. So let's blend those together as a thing, as another approach to that.
If we're looking for another question, we know that Zinnia was promised a seat in our court if he successfully causes this war, but we don't really know who his ally for that is. The presumption is kind of on you, but
so you want to know who it might be that is associated with this?
Yes. Who would benefit most from the revenge of the 100 ghosts? and their minion and their master. Yes.
Well, I don't like to speak in gossip, but at the time that the 100 Ghosts was destroyed, that was when the Seven Vow Society, they were assisting in this, and they claimed to have killed one of the masters, Ageless Sin, and his daughter. But your father was always suspicious of that no proof had been brought, that this had not happened, and he was always suspicious of Master Formless.
You are a wise man to have been so bold in your responses to your lowly servant and to your heir.
It's not a question of him being my heir. You're the son of a man who I hold in great regard. I will always hold him in great regard.
I hope to live up to his example one day.
He said that of his own father. And he will thank you. Probably brought some wine or something as a gift for him, so he will nod and leave you go on your way. Master Hang, you will be called to a meeting with Zinnia, essentially, and Zinnia will say, I am nearly ready for what you have asked of me, but there's something I need for you to do to be able to have this work. It is a minor thing, a trifling thing.
On with it.
There is a servant of our delegation, a young woman named Nee. And I believe that Lady Two brought her into her household and she's been there. I need you to get her out of there and into our hands.
In what way does this serve our purposes?
In the way that the machinations that you have asked for will only be able to be completed if this can happen.
Then it will be so.
Excellent. And he will bow to you. What will you do?
I think that even though it might be ill-advised, like he is distasteful to me.
Oh yes,
and
he's villainous and a foreigner. So
yeah, and I'm trying. I'm trying to like. I don't think I'm quite able to keep like. There's some kind of.
Is this inner conflict? Is
yeah,
do I hear inner conflict here?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so because you were truthful with him before, but now situations change.
Yeah, and I just this sound it doesn't sound like a good thing. I feel dirty.
You look down and there's still ink on your fingers.
Oh, there's never ink on my fingers.
But for a moment it looks like it.
Okay.
sort of a Lady Macbeth style.
Yeah. So yeah, roll inner conflict then.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and roll fire.
Okay.
And that's an 8.
Richard, what does your heart say? Is Hang good? Is he? Is this? Is this the way that he wishes this to be done? I mean, is this so important, or will this approach perhaps ruin the ideogram? What do you think?
Well, I think that Hang is because this is well outside of his wheelhouse in terms of what he normally does. It's going to have to be slow and deliberate, and I'm going to lean into the planning part of it.
So right now he's uncertain about this, is what you're telling me.
And what I'm saying is I'm going to lean into the planning of it in order to delay action.
Yeah. So
in the hopes that something happens.
Yeah. So let's have you mark fire, because you're kind of going the way that you kind of think is right. And I think it is at that point when you're kind of struggling with that and you're thinking, how will I do this? I've got to delay this. Can I do this? That you will see Prince Wei. Prince, you've come back from the library, talking with the judge, moving through, and you will see Hang, and he looks, for want of a better word, pensive.
Wei comes to a decision and he says, Min, there is something I must share with Hang, and I should have shared with you long ago. Come with me and meet with my master. So Wei's going to come in and say, Master Hang.
Yes, my prince.
You may wish to take a seat. You certainly have my leave to do so.
Yeah, I being having a metal core tells me that I'm not going.
Sure. Master Hang, for some time I have benefited by the indomitable friendship of a woman I've known my whole life. And she has toiled as a servant. But recently she has been aiding me in my pursuits to know more of my kingdom.
Min's eyes get really big.
To know more of what it means to lead this country. And I've come to realize recently I cannot be as I was, and things are changing. And I can no longer allow her to be in the shadows. It is true that I'm afraid I have no gift for calligraphy. I have the baboon's hand. The person who you are so taken with is my friend Wen. She has been aiding me as only a true friend could. She's allowed me precious time with, and he glances at Min, others that I care about. She's allowed me freedom, but it's been at a great cost to her, and I can no longer let her hide in the shadows. I owe you an apology, Master. But the great hand you spoke of will never be mine.
Would that you had said this before my hand was forced.
What do you mean?
Your friend, pardon me, this is a new reality to which it's difficult to adjust. Your friend is more than a gifted calligrapher. Your friend represents the very thing that I and Master Yahui, for that matter, have sought, and those of our order have sought for centuries. And you must forgive me, but at a time when I thought it was you, the need to see this purpose fulfilled superseded all other notions of duty, and I must confess that I've worked toward your downfall.
Wei is shocked, and I believe that I need to roll inner turmoil.
Don't forget to mark XP for it too.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. You know, it's a hell of a thing, that style element.
You've got Min to back you up.
I do have Min to back me up. I'm gonna roll this with water, I think. All right. 7. Hooray.
So you can flee this scene or mark water and remain.
Oh. I think what's going to happen is that Wei is going to go, "You've put Wen in danger." And then he will immediately flee the scene because he realizes Wen's in danger.
And I think, but I think Min stays behind. And Min takes a seat at the table and looks at Hang and says, "Master Hang, what have you done?"
I could not allow the prince to ascend to the throne, and I thought that the only way was to bring about his ruin, so that he was eliminated as a candidate for that position. And I fear that I have thrown my support and turned the hand of my former master toward that end.
You're not behind the assassination attempts, are you?
Oh, no. Wei must survive. My before this revelation, my primary purpose was that Wei survive whatever comes his way. I was hoping that I might mitigate the danger to everyone's lives by perhaps diverting our enemy toward non-lethal measures.
So it is Yahui who joined you in this endeavor?
Well, Yahui has the same reverence for the forms and the perfection that we seek. We are of the same order. And when he saw the potential in what I thought was the prince's hand, he was joined to my cause.
Now, Min, on screen, we know that there is stuff that is not being said by the on screen. Do you want to go to a study roll to put a question to the other player, or do you want to stay with the game state as it is?
So I think I'll go to. I think I'll go to the steady move, and let's
Okay.
see what the dice say. And I need to figure out what. Oh, that would be awful. So I'll roll with wood.
Okay.
For curiosity to figure out what's going on, and I rolled a 7 plus 1 is 8.
So what question do you want to put to Hang kind of on a meta level? Either that you'll have a realization or that they'll express. It's up to you how you want to, well, you two kind of negotiate how that gets revealed there, if whatever the question is.
I think it would be best if you told me the full plan about how this was going to happen to the heir, so that we both might figure out a way to come out of this as well as possible. I would not see you cast from the court if it is not necessary.
So what are you asking? You want to know the whole plan?
Yeah. So I guess the thing is, how do you indicate either obliquely or through a misstep or some of that Zinnia is involved?
I think I think it's going to be in the form of kind of a personal confession. It's very very bothered. Like it really weighs heavily on me to have associated myself with someone so low, and a vulgar foreigner, and it essentially all I'm doing is kind of like getting off my chest that I have fallen in with the scheming of the invaders to hope to repurpose it to my own ends. And I think, and in doing so, make it clear. I mean, again, a lot of the time when Hang reveals anything, it's not, it's in the process of revealing what he thinks is important. And it's only of interest to him what he thinks he's revealing.
Min, what's your reaction when you hear this, even kind of spoken as obliquely as it might be?
This is, to be honest, Master Hang, I had thought better of you. However, I see a ray of hope in this. I see that none of the conspirators know your heart and your motivation. Your foreign conspirators don't know your heart or your motivation. And that is something that we might be able to use to our advantage. I will speak on your behalf to Master Wei. And I think the three of us may be able to end this attack upon our court either through deception or with blood.
Wei, what is it when you return back to your rooms and look through? What is it that tells you that Wen has not returned, has not been back as you would have expected, that she's not here?
I think it's because it's a mess. Like she had thrown the hissy fit at Hang. Normally she still would have come back and cleaned it up. But it's still a mess.
Yeah. What? She's not here. What would you do?
Well, I mean, it's what he always does when something's awry within the palace. He's gonna go find her.
Let's have you roll study.
Okie doke. Let's see here. I think we'll trying to do it speedily, so we'll call that fire. 8.
What is your question?
All right, I forget if you have study very, very broad.
I have very, very broad study.
Very broad.
Or it's a question or declaration.
Right. I mean, either way, it amounts to the same thing where he's going to find her.
You get to say, or I get to say, if you want to
Yeah,
say.
I know.
I'm looking forward to see what you would say. I'm very curious.
I think that she is locked up in a shed outside, or possibly within Lady Shun's own space.
I think that you will talk to people and you'll kind of piece things together until you finally realize, and while Lady Shun clearly tried to do it in secret, that people are saying, oh yeah, we saw you go with Lady Shun to Master Yahui's house. And all trails lead there.
Yeah.
Should we have you do the scene there, or should we bring Min and Hang together with you at that moment?
I'm good either way. The way I would normally do it is like have a camera angle with him, like with the weighted umbrella directly in front of the house. Just like for a moment, from all you see is the legs and the umbrella. And then he's just like Naruto runs towards it. But I'm happy to end the scene there. I'm happy to bring in Hang and Min at the same time.
What do you think?
I have a thought that we could all. I mean, we all like. I can see Hang wanting to head off Master Yahui, and so like maybe we all kind of independently arrive there for our own reasons.
Min, does that sound good to you?
That's fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think there is that moment where you're about to, like the umbrella is there and you're about to go, and you will see from different directions Min and Hang approaching, both with, a serious look on their face, like they're also going in.
And I don't think he says anything. He just nods at both of them, and then turns attention and advances on the home.
Do you knock? Do you kick the door in?
I kick the door in.
Okay.
Like full martial arts kick, fly off the hinges.
And yeah, it will. That door will come off its hinges. There's a servant there who shrieks as you come in, and you will march into the house, and we will see the three of you come out into the garden there, and we will see Lady Shun, and we will see a somewhat confused Master Yahui, like, and we will see Master Zinnia. And Master Zinnia says, "Did you?" And she goes, "No, I hadn't sent anything yet." "Prince," says Zinnia, "to what do we owe the honor of this visit?"
I learned my friend was here. It's time for her to go home.
As you brought a servant and a scrivener to this fight.
Fight?
Discussion. I see that you are with people. but as always, you will stand alone. And there I'll go. As meaningful as a ghost.
Then I do not have to pull my mask aside then, do I?
No, we know you for what you are.
Do you? Your father thought he knew things, but he never saw it coming. You can tell that Master Yahui has kind of been co-opted. He is there. You can see that Lady Shun strikes a pose not unlike Zinya's pose. And so how do you want to do this? Tell me what you would do, Wei. Is it just engaging Zinya, or is there something more calculated here? Or do you need to clear the others before you can take on Zinya? Or do you need to figure out where Wen is? What do you think?
Well, what I'm thinking is that secretly Prince Wei actually came and freed Wen earlier, and this is Wen, and Prince Wei is actually behind Zinya and is going to attack him there.
Let's have you roll. That is the best thing ever.
So I will roll Shadow. And I think this is probably still fire. 5 + 2 is 7. Oh my god, I made a fucking roll.
Yes.
Sorry, PG-13.
That's okay.
That's our one. Cracks in the performance, mark an element, and choose an NPC who suspected something. Do I have to mark fire on that?
No, that's a choice on that one.
All right. Well, I'm going to mark water.
Okay.
I'm going to say that Lady Shun suspects something because she can see some of the ink smudges are still on the face.
Yes, and she will cry out, "Father, that's not him!" And so you're kind of coming from behind. Wen is kind of moving, so you're closing in there. Min, you see Master Yahui is kind of stepped up, like he's clearly going to engage in this fight, and you see that Lady Shun is also moving to engage in this fight. What do you want to do?
I'd like to take the plethora. This is Master Yahui's residence, right?
Yes.
I'd like to take the plethora of quills that he has for his art that are on the desk and scatter them on the floor, stumble into them and scatter them on the floor to make footing less.
Let's have you roll overcome. Your goal is to reduce the scale of the 200 ghost warriors, is what I'm guessing here.
Yes.
Okay.
And what would that be with? Oh, that will be with fire for creativity.
Okay.
And I rolled a 5 + 1 is a 6.
Do you have a bond?
I do have a bond, so I will burn my bond with Wei because we learned this together.
I think that you will do that, but I think you have to mark an element of your choice.
Okay.
Because I do think as you move in to do that, both Lady Shun and Yuhei are kind of moving up and will get a strike on you. Hang, what? What is going on here? What are you going to do?
Well, my number one priority is to protect Wen.
Yeah. Let me have you make an inner conflict roll, as the woman you love is clearly a villain.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What am I gonna? I think that will be. I think as much as it's a bad idea, it's going to be a water roll, I think.
Okay.
So I'm at -1. Okay. And it's a 6.
So I think when you go to engage in this, mark that element, and you will kind of freeze up there, and that's the point at which Master Huey strikes, and he hits your hand, and you'll feel the crack of bones as he breaks your hand there.
Okay.
So you kind of stumble back. You feel that.
Oh, I dropped to my knees, clutching my hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Huey is like, he's clearly like, now he's decided he can move in for the kill on this. So Min, you've kind of unbalanced the ground. We've got Wen there who's moving and thinks that's 2 steps of bringing him down to scale. Wei, do you think it's enough? Do you want to go in, take this opportunity to try and deal with them?
Man, I super wish I could bring this influence into play now. I think that it is time to try and do something about him. Hang's got a busted up hand, but Wen is up there also to protect him. Min is not in immediate danger, so yeah, I think we strike now.
Yeah, this may be your one shot. He's clearly gonna adapt to Wen's presence. He's gonna get out from this thing, and one of your people is already potentially down. So right now, for this moment, he is on your scale, but he won't be, and you'll have to reset after.
Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. All right. So I rolled a 6, but is my style element, so it's +2. So I'm
Okay.
8.
That is an 8. So when you fight someone on your scale, on that 7 and 9, you can deadlock, reveal a detail, ask a question. You can lose. You can mark XP and take +1 forward if you fight them again. Or you can win at a cost.
I think I'll win at a cost. Are we looking at this as kind of the climax?
I think we're kind of getting to the climax here.
Yeah.
What is the cost that you would pay to take down this man who had a hand in your father's death?
So I think what's happening is Wen is coming down from the sky with his umbrella. And Lady Shun says that it's not him. And then Min throws the feathers out. And he pulls out his willow rod and is going to thrust it at Min. And I think right before that happens, Wen lands with the umbrella hard into his chest, but the willow rod lances right through my left side, and I will mark wounded.
Okay. So he will, and you will hit him. He'll collapse to the ground. Min, Lady Shun is still a threat here. Father! It looks like she is going to try and kill at least one of these princes. And you see Wei go down. What do you do, Min?
So I think I'm going to pull the 2 chopsticks out of my hair, and the hair goes kind of fanning out, and I will leap over the collapsed desk at Lady Shun.
Okay, so right now you get +1 forward to your style element because you've seen Wei drop, and she is on your scale right now. She is startled by what has happened here.
Okay, so I'm going to roll, and I rolled a 9, +2 +1 is a 12.
Tell me how you are awesome.
So I think that Min whips around, and Lady Shun has this great balancing scale where she is able to kind of find form for form against men and block time after time until Min finally realizes that objects aren't what's going to defeat Lady Shun. It's heart, and in mid strike drops the chopsticks, and a fist, lances out and catches her under the nose, and she collapses unconscious.
Yeah, and you're showing mercy.
Meaning she doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, you will hit her the chopsticks. She's still watching where the chopsticks are. She's still picturing the chopsticks coming in her mind's eye. She sees that attack, and then you kind of phase through in her mind's eye, and boom, you actually do that strike, and she will drop to the ground there. And Hang, Hui was about to strike at you, and he turns because his wife has just been dropped. He's raising his like a heavy scroll case above you and he screams out, "No, no!" What do you do?
So his attention is off of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. And I like that failing that role essentially made me like I'm pretty devastated by this.
You took the hand breaking. You know that the hand is going to be a problem, but
yeah. But I mean, in terms of like Lady Shun, like that.
You know that love is done.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how over it I am. Let's see. No, I think ultimately, like, I think that where is Wen right now? Wen was protected by Wei, correct?
Yeah, she is getting up. She is safe at this moment. Shun is on the ground. Min is above her. Wei is clutching his side, and Yahui is looking over before he brings this scroll case down to kill you.
Okay, I'm going to say this is a threat to Wen that is that cannot be abided, and
right.
And I take my my brush and I snap it in half and I jam the jagged ends into the helpless body of Lady Shun.
Oh! I think I also need you to roll overcome to see whether Yahui will get that strike on you here.
Okay.
What do you want to roll that with?
I think this is all about like discipline and control. So I'm going to go.
Okay.
I wanted you to have a +1, but not like this.
Yeah, you get a +1.
That's 10 plus 2 plus 1, 13.
So you leap over, and she's too close to Wen. She might move, and you do that. And Master Yahui swings at you, but you're no longer there. And you will do that, and he will cry out. He drops the scroll case, and falls to his knees there as he sees that happen. Wei. Ooh, Master Hang's brutal.
Calligraphers, man, I'm telling you.
They get the job done. What do you do? Wen is kind of getting up and looking to make sure you're okay, looking to Min. What do you do?
I think I'm gonna try to. Does Master Yuhui count as a villain or as a minion of a villain?
He's a minion of a villain.
Well, I'm gonna have to try and blade hard him.
Okay. He is the last threat here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have you roll.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna say, Master Yuhui, Master Yuhui, she was never what she seemed. She was a ghost. She was already dead. She was never who she said she was. That's what I'm gonna go for.
Okay.
All right, so my allies get +1 forward, but I do not, and I am wounded, so I get a -2. I'm gonna go for my plus fire here.
That makes sense.
Yep. And I am not gonna make that. I have no bonds to spend, and I only have a 5. So he's going to fool me into thinking that he has changed side.
So I think he steps up, and there is that moment when he looks at you like and kind of moves towards you as if to say, you're right. But I think that's the point at which the blade's in his hand and he falls on Wen and
No.
stabs her.
The perfect ideogram.
And she will cry out. She didn't expect that at all. Min, what do you do?
So I think that Min sees Wei wounded and sees Wen wounded and steps between Master Yahui and the two of them and says, your ink will no longer flow here. And if he doesn't yield, is there a way to threaten him and see if he yields?
Yeah, I think that'd be hearts and minds.
Okay.
You know, you are telling him to step down. Jacobean farce.
Okay. And what would that be with? That would
Jacobean
be
blood farce.
So I still think this would be fire.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I rolled a 7, +1 is 8, +1 is 9.
And I think that he will collapse to his knees. Like this is just he has lost everything, and he will go to the weeping there. Wei, let me ask you this.
Sure.
Is Wen still alive?
Oh. Man. See, I expected to be told. You know what? In this type of fiction, she shouldn't be, but I'm a softie, so
Yeah.
she is.
I think there's that moment where we see, and you come over, and she looks like he's dead. We see Hang look that to your eyes, Hang, Master Hui has just killed her. And then there's that moment where Wen's eyelids flutter, and we see her kind of reach up and kind of, touches where it is, and maybe even the blood that she touches, forms an ideogram even out of his own, unconscious. And she'll look and she goes, "I'm so sorry, my prince."
You have nothing to be sorry for. I apologize to you.
And Hang, I think you can let out a sigh of absolute relief there.
Yeah. Yeah, I just about collapsed.
Stephen, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I think we need to shift to epilogues. I think we need to shift to there. Let's, because so much depends on the prince. I think I want to start with you, Jason, because some of the other choices I think will roll out from there. So what is our epilogue after this, either an immediate aftermath or down the road or a couple of steps? What do we see?
I think the most interesting thing to me is to fast forward a little bit
Mhm.
to the point where he's on the throne. You is his advisor. But he is on the throne, and his brother is actually his chief advisor. And I think what we see is that the fortress, where before it had drawn a firm demarcation between the nobles and the people, like the gates are just open. So there's the court actually up on top of a tower looking out over the town. And Ontayu is saying, "This will not last." And he's looking over the people coming and going and all the life, and he goes, "Maybe not, but for today, it is good."
And Hang, what about you? What is the epilogue for Hang?
Following the prince's coronation, you see Hang kind of packing a bundle, kind of careful with his hand still bandaged, and obviously kind of twisted. But still managing to pack some meager belongings. He's not wearing the same kind of finery. It's a rougher cloth and like earth tones, and he picks up his bundle, slips out the back, and slips with just kind of acknowledging the guards, and out on the road, you see Hang meet with Wen, who is similarly packed, and they walk into the countryside. You see kind of a series of scenes of them traveling from village to village, traveling through the country, and it ends on a scene of Hang sitting on a rock, and it's kind of overlooking a stream that's going by, and there's like a tree, and you can see clouds in the sky, birds against them, and he's kind of gesturing at these things, and sitting on the ground with a small like portable table in front of her is Wen making brushstrokes.
Nice. Min, the prince has been proclaimed. He has done as you asked. Things have changed here. This double that had been in your life that he hadn't told you about until just this time is that's gone. So what is your epilogue?
So I think what we see is Master Wei, and Master Wei goes out among the people. And we see him during the day. He goes out into the palace, into the court, and among the people. And then we see him back in his quarters. And the camera kind of zooms back out towards the village. And it's Min as Wei's double, who is there among the people. And the people, I think, are saying, how great he is as a ruler, because he is one of us, and he has shown mercy to us and shared the wealth of the kingdom. And then I think we see, we have one of those wipes, and the sun kind of sets. And then in the evening, we see the guard Zen outside the king's office, or outside of Wei's office, quarters. And I think there's this terse order from Wei, and Zen reaches inside, steps inside, the door closes. And I think Wei pulls the guard helmet off, and Min's long flowing hair comes down. And I think there's a chaste kiss, and it fades to black.
Nice use of the imposter there. Very smart. Very, very smart. Thank you all so much for playing. I had a very good time with that. If you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes, just because I want to say good play today. Like, all of you were like, okay, let's pick up on this hook. Let's take the ball and let's keep it moving. And that's what really good players bring to the table. All three of you picked it up, moved with it, and did great things. And I admire that so much. Jason, anything you want to say?
Sure. You want to start with stars, wishes? You want to mix them up?
Mix them up, however you want to do it. Whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure. Well, the star that sticks out most to me is you're like a master of hard moves. Like, it's so easy to do the just mark a box and to treat it as a binary, but you have really, really elegant hard moves that add to the narrative and don't make the players feel like they're just being screwed. And I admire that, and hope I grow to be the GM you are one day. You inspire me as Wei's father inspired him. And honestly, again, like my fellow players just bring a whole lot. Like, the story doesn't work without them. I suppose for wishes, oh geez. It feels like we could have used one more session just to draw it out a little bit more. If we could control time and space, that would be part of it.
Were you okay with me making Zinnia responsible, tying that into your father's thing?
Super,
I just want to make sure
it ties things together. No,
okay, good.
I super, and I love that that lady shoot turned out to be his daughter, which was a nice touch. So yeah, no, I super love that too. I think in terms, these were some new rules. I suppose another wish would be, since we were doing court stuff, to do more court stuff would have also been nice. I don't know how we could have, but again, it would have been nice. I wish my dice rolls didn't suck. But
you persevered through one of the worst droughts I've seen in a long time.
I'm used to it. I think the shadow move is a quirky move, because in many ways it ends up being like I almost have two PCs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any stars or wishes about it, just an observation that it especially because it's always going to be the air that has it, kind of redefines the game a little.
Yeah. I think it's one of those moves that's going to require, when I go through, because I'm going to do the GM commentary on them, it's going to require some discussion about how much it changes things. Mm-hmm. And I kind of knew it would, but seeing it in play today, you're going with that really, really showed me how the dynamic it can be. And by the way, that pull out at the end was inspired. That was, I did not see that coming, and it was great. So anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Richard, thoughts, stars, wishes?
Yeah. First off, Lowell, I think it was just it's so hard to take a rich field of all these different threads that it's like to pick the ones that are going to make a story end up working at the end, because there were just I think it's one of those things with kind of improvisational storytelling that you have to know what to leave behind as much as you have to know what kind of direction to go. And I think you made some astute choices there. So I really thought that was great. I thought, I liked that we kind of got, into all different kinds of combinations today that that kind of worked well. I think it was interesting how there was this sudden outbreak of self-destructive honesty in several characters that was kind of entertaining to see. It's like, well, if everybody had just kept lying, it would have been it would have gone more smoothly. But I think that the big surprise was, I know that there were a couple of instances where Hang, came out and said the thing that kind of cut the Gordian knot a little bit, and there were a couple of other times that other people did that too, and that was interesting.
Yeah, I will say one of the things that was, if I have a wish, is that we had some great other PCs, and there were some great stories there that we didn't get to explore. And I'm sorry we didn't do those too. So, but then we definitely would need a 5th session to wrangle those in. Anything else you want to say, Richard?
No, I mean, except I'm let's see. Next week, I'm kind of going into my first MC session. I'm running a 4-week game of Root. I think Steven, you're in the game, aren't you? Or
I don't know.
Somebody. I know someone from my other game that I'm in is enrolled in.
Okay.
In my game, but anyway, it's I've loved I've been on the Gauntlet here since August and just been really enjoying it. Glad to be jumping in, and I think it's just wonderful. I know a lot. I have a lot of people I know personally who are getting through the quarantine by exploring this whole online role playing thing. So I'm kind of glad I got the got the training and practice.
Yeah, I really hope that we're able to model and maybe help some other people get accustomed to that. Even if they don't join the community, I'd love to be able to mentor some people and get them running. So it's a real opportunity.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
I have to admit that one of the biggest challenges it seems like is to find a good video chat conference to use, because of course Zoom is paid or has a 40-minute limit, and StreamYard and other tools. StreamYard is pretty good, but like Discord is choppy, and they all have kind of issues.
Zoom, I will say I went ahead. I bought a year. It's discounted. You can actually, if you look around, find coupons to get a year's subscription to Zoom for like about 120 something.
Or you could work for a college.
Or you can work from a college.
Yeah.
But for me, it was worth it to do that investment. And I actually spent some of my salary to get some other accounts that I've handed off to some people on the Gauntlet who are financially disadvantaged to do that. So
absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things that it's worth what you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Especially because it streams natively to YouTube, so I don't have to upload, which that's a big thing. So
a lot of the other people that I game with, they're not that big into streaming to YouTube. So, but it's the most stable product I've seen.
It's the most stable. Yeah.
I miss Hangouts.
Yeah, so much.
I miss Hangouts version 1.
Yeah.
I don't really miss what Hangouts became.
Yeah.
Twisted and evil.
There are some people who are like, well, we need to change the name of Gauntlet Hangouts, and I'm like, I don't know. I loved Hangout so much. I'd like to remember it fondly. So, but Stephen, stars, wishes, things you want to say for the end here?
Yeah. So I haven't ever played Hearts of Wulin before, so this was kind of a play test for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kept looking at the system. There were a couple of things I noticed in the system.
Sure.
So I'm going to start with wishes.
Okay.
One was the advancement seems to be slow.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's true in other Hearts of Wulin sessions.
It averages an advance every other session. That's the average, yeah.
There seemed to be some confusion about, XP on a miss. And I know that I've seen that before.
Yeah.
So
because one of the original things we've done, and one of the things we actually do with one-shots, is we change the XP system a little. And we had a version where when you rolled Interconflict, you got an XP for rolling it, and then if you missed on it, you got an XP. But the rolling a miss on XP just for that ended up being too wonky.
Okay.
Too exceptional in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But we have it as an option for short-term games.
The other thing that I noticed was that I had a couple of moves that were difficult to get into play.
Okay.
It was easy for me to get the bodyguard double into play, but I have a move called Banquet. That if someone gets in trouble from a person in power, they draw ire. Then I can draw that ire towards me or kind of balance things out. And so every time I could get into a place where Wei might, flub a roll and get in trouble, I was like, oh, I'm right here. I can protect from this, but it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that just might be because of the way that the dice fell.
Yeah, it is one of those things. It is always a question when you have a roll that is triggered not on the deliberation of the player, not on the action of the player, but on the circumstances of the game. I think that one probably needs like something else to give it a little more oomph and a little more utility. But I think you're right.
And I think we all. So I have two different like doppelganger moves, and Wei has one. So I think we all kind of headed in that direction.
Yes.
And I'm glad I got to get imposter in at the very end.
So good.
So
that
felt
so
good. Yeah. I was looking for ways earlier, like, I could take Nee's place whenever Master Xenia, gets her, and then I could be an inside plant. So I looked for ways to do it, but I think it worked best in the epilogue. As far as stars, Jason, you were fantastic. You were a great Wei. It was so good to play with you. And Richard, I've played with you before. It's always been fun. And I'm glad this session I got to spend more time with Hang. Hang's antics and his moves and what he's going to do always surprise me. And it was a lot of fun and brought a lot to the story. It was great. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much. I really had a good time running this. I appreciate you giving it a try. I appreciate the comments, and I'm going to stop the recording. Hit this button here.